Here we are, KC, JP, our second edition of Talking the Business. And who do we bring to you? You know the whole comment, go big or go home? We bring none other than the chosen one, Mitch Huff, the former OVW TV champ and professional poker player, on and on and on and on and on, trainer at the wonderful Grindhouse here in, well, actually it's in Indiana, correct? Jeffersonville, I was correct. So, welcome everyone to the show. Thanks to everyone for checking us out. And we're here to talk the business. Got the Coors Light ready. We've actually already eaten the pizza. You knew Mitch was coming, so pizza had to be had. And watching Final Battle and having a good time. So thanks to everybody for joining us. All right, Mitch, let's talk about this because you've got a real unique history in the fact that you go back, you trained in OVW. Obviously, you got to work with Al Snow and Rip Rogers as the WWE kind of, I guess you could say, own OVW at the time. Okay. And then you're working your way up, and you leave. And you leave to become a professional poker player.
Correct.
From my understanding that you did extremely well. And obviously you're not homeless. You actually drove here this evening. So you did okay for yourself. And then somewhere in 2014 you decide, well, I'm coming back. So let's go into what made you actually come back into the circuit.
Well, that's a good question. It's well, to get to 2014, we got to go back to the beginning. All right. So
That's only fair.
all right. I was a college basketball player. I was a standout athlete. But long story short, I had 2 years lapse where I didn't play basketball. Okay. Went to college, tried out. Did not. I had the worst trial of my life. Never tried out for a team in my life and didn't make it. But I went there and worst trial ever. So I was like, I'm not going to make the team, obviously. So what else am I going to do? I'd already quit UPS that was going to pay for U of L.
Okay.
So I was like, oh my God, how am I going to get to college? I'd already quit and gone to Western Kentucky once. So I said, you know what, dude? OVW's in your backyard. You have wanted to be a wrestler since you were in middle school.
Okay.
Why don't you just try that, right? So my mind switched from basketball, which I was all about from high school on, to pro wrestling. So I started looking into the school, everything, how much it was going to cost, yada, yada, yada. I was all in on the wrestling. And then about a month later, I get the college scholarship for basketball. Okay, so I get the scholarship now, okay, I got to switch focus again. But it was something very weird that happened to me. I went back to school, I got back into basketball shape and all that, but I didn't, that's not what my passion was. I was so ready to be a wrestler at that point in my life. So anyway, played 1 semester, quit. Came home, got with my buddy who was a bodybuilder, started working out, knew OVW was the goal, got a job, saved up my money, started OVW. Because WWE owned it at the time. So it's like you're under, it's like the Performance Center now.
Yeah.
You know, it's like going to the Performance Center now. So you're under their umbrella. You're going to be seen by the place where every wrestler is trying to get to for the most part. So anyways, I do it, and not to toot my own horn, but I was great at it right off the bat. I mean, I was just really, really good. And guys were coming up to me saying, kids, stick with it. You're going to get a contract in the next year. You're just put on some more size. Because I was about 205 at the time. I was a lot skinnier.
Okay.
Put on some size, keep working on it, but you're going to get a contract. And I was like, great. Granted, this time I turned 21 years old. Buddy says, hey, I'm going to go play poker at the casino. I swear, okay. And I said, all right, you want to come? I said, sure. So, go to the casino with him. I think I might have lost my first time, but I had a blast. And I played online, I played in college with buddies and all that, but kept going and then kept winning. And you got to understand too, back in this time, poker just blew up.
Oh yeah, most
It
definitely.
just, the moneymaker effect and all that just happened.
ESPN picks
Yes.
it up. It's
It-
becoming a mainline event at this
Yes,
point.
it just blew up, which meant a lot of bad players.
Oh, most
A
definitely.
lot of bad players, so a lot of money to be made. I'm not kidding. I was 21 years old and I was on average making $200-300 every time I went to the boat. I was going 4 or 5 times a week.
There you go.
Now, granted, I'd lose some of that playing blackjack, but that's not.
You won.
No black kids, don't play blackjack. But yeah, I did win at playing poker. So, anyways, it started really, picking up. And long story. I won't get into all this, but I was on and off with a girl that I was dating, and she had moved back home to Biloxi, Mississippi.
Okay.
So I went to visit her in the summer. They have casinos down there. Okay. Now, I've been playing poker in Southern Indiana, where there's some money, but now think Biloxi. You're getting all this Florida money.
Louisiana.
Yes, all
New
this. You're
Orleans,
getting
the whole nine
all
yards.
this. People migrate there and gamble.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down there. I was there for a week, and I made like $2,000.
Yeah.
Like easy too. Like no sweat. And so now in my head, I was like, again, I'm a young guy. I'm a young man, stupid. I was like, well, I can move down here, be with this girl that I like, and just play poker for a living. It's all good, right? It all makes sense. And I go back home, and I just, again, I'm one of those people that when I get my mind set on something, I just put all my energy and focus into that. So I started slowly migrating to the poker side of things, and still would go to class, but not like I was. I wasn't going to every single TV taping. I was just starting to filter out and started making a lot of money playing poker. Anyways, a long story short, me and that girl didn't work out. But I got caught into the poker, and I started making a whole lot of money. And I had quit going to OVW for about 5-6 months. And I believe at that time, WWE sold it.
Yeah.
In that time. It was really quickly after I left. So then I was like, what's the point of going back? And poker was going so good, and I loved it. I was young, enjoying it, no work, all this cash in hand.
Oh.
It was a good setup for a young man.
Oh, most definitely.
And honestly, just being very critical of myself, I wasn't ready mature-wise for the business at that point. I was 20 years old, just 21 years old. Started when I was 20. But this business it's a mind. Can we cuss on this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We don't have sponsors yet, folks.
Okay.
They're coming. I promise we got big announcements coming soon. But while we don't have a sponsor, please feel free.
Future sponsors? Sorry. This business can be a mind fuck.
Oh, most definitely.
You know, there's politics. It's a grown man's game too.
Yes.
I mean, you get guys in your ear telling you all these things that they get your hopes up, they take them away. You have to be, suave, and you have to have a business sense. You have to have a lot of, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, a lot of life experience to do it. Is the best way to.
And most definitely, and you're talking about if you're a fan out there of the Indies, and I really want to repeat this, we always say, and you'll hear us say a million times over the next few years, support the Indies, support the Indies, support the Indies. Well, there's a reason we say support the Indies, because these guys are really hustling and grinding. When you're making $20 a show, okay, and it doesn't even cover the gas to get to the show, okay, they're relying on you not only to be able to improve in the ring and to give entertainment, but just to be able to eat that night. Sometimes just selling that merch, selling that autograph, showing these guys that you are supporting them as they continue to grow in the business is so important. It really is a hustle.
No, it's you are the starting artist.
That's
That's what you are when you're trying to make it. You don't make shit on the Indies unless you've been.
No offense to any promoter who's trying to book Mitch down the line. We've got to say that.
Well, promoters don't pay what they should pay the boys. Indie promoters for the most part, and then they wonder why they don't draw shit. But that's not the point.
That's a whole other discussion.
Well, that is the point. We'll get into that too. There's a lot of promoters that don't pay shit. They get shitty workers, and then they can turn around and go, "Oh, I don't know, I only drew 50 people." Well, it's probably because you don't have people that can wrestle on your shit.
There you go.
There you go.
But and no one's asking for a $500 payday, but we want to get gas, we want to get food for the night, exactly, and put a little something in our pockets.
Well, because you're out there putting your body on the line too.
Absolutely.
They don't see that; they just see it from the money standpoint.
Yeah.
They don't care what you guys do.
Exactly.
It's a whole different world. But okay, so we look at this. You're making great money.
Oh,
But
yeah,
let's go back.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
Only with the chosen one do you get this. But go ahead.
Yeah, I apologize. So, I want to say and it dropped dramatically. And you got to understand too, this is not the same place where we're easy. Don't make $300 a day. Those days are gone.
Yeah.
You can still go make money there, but it's a grind.
Oh.
Now you're really grinding. So money's starting to get low. Me and ex-girlfriend at the time were living together. We had a house. We're both in this transitional stage in our life.
Just funny because an old high school friend of mine who's a musician now, he's a rapper, Cadillac Dundee, but he's a huge wrestling fan, loves the Indies, and he kind of patterns his brand after ICP.
Okay.
So he was, yeah, you know what I'm saying? So he was definitely like trying to get involved in the wrestling rap together.
Okay.
He randomly hits me up. I mean, we haven't talked in years. I'm thinking about running a show in January of this had to be 14.
Okay.
And this was like October of 13. So it was about 2013 when all this was going on. And he said, "Do you want to work it?" And I said, I do. Like, because I had a lot of like wanting to go back. Through the whole time I was playing poker, it was never like it just left me.
And I don't mean
And I never stopped watching. I never stopped studying. But I was gonna go back to OVW when TNA was there.
Okay.
Because you got to understand, like, I want to make it. I love the indies. I mean, for what they are, I think they're great. But I don't want to be an indie wrestler my whole life.
Well, and to go back and let the fans get a little bit of a sneak peek to the back, you and me have had this discussion. Most guys that have been in the industry have that moment. When I mean that moment, is that moment where you're a fan for life, and you know that somehow, some way, that's what you're going to do.
Yes.
And I know for you, you've talked about the special moment at Louisville Gardens where you and your mother and you go to the show and you're expecting to see Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter. And something happened that night. I'm sure it's important to understand, like I said, where these guys come from in that moment. For me, for me, it was one morning at 11 a.m. in El Paso, Texas. All of a sudden, I see Michael P.S. Hayes and Terry Bam Bam Gordy. I'm 8 years old. I see Terry Bam Bam Gordy and go, and at that point, I'm hooked because that character was so blown my mind and go, oh my God, who the hell is this? I've got to watch for the rest of my life. That's it. I'm sold. And for you, go ahead and tell the story. I mean, because it's really cool.
I don't remember how old I was. My mom has pictures of this, but we went to Louisville Gardens for a house, and I have an older brother who's a big fan, and he, I'm guessing he's the one who hooked me on it. That's all I can assume. He was watching. Big Brother's watching. This is pretty cool, especially back then. They were cartoons. I mean, they were bigger than life. Right. It was Hogan and Savage and Warrior, all these guys. And I have vivid memories. Like I said, I remember vividly watching the barbershop window with the Rockers. I remember that as a kid watching in my living room. Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah. Great. And but Mom took us to a house show, and it was Hogan. My guy, I was a Hulkamaniac. Hogan versus Slaughter. And over the PA system goes...
The heartbreaking moment.
Yeah, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, fans, but Hogan is filming a movie, and I remember this, and I had to be 3 to 5 years old, and but he's not going to be here tonight. But don't worry, we have replaced him with the Macho Man Randy Savage, which is a better trade-off, anyways, for a wrestling. You know what I mean? But I was young, I was a Hulkamaniac.
Right. But
for me, to answer that question, for me, as I started getting older, Bret Hart became my guy. Okay. Bret started becoming my guy. I liked him a lot. I remember I had the glasses and all that. I went to shows with him.
Bret! Yeah. Sorry, I had to say it. The former little thing on WWE.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, Bret!
Yeah. Bret started to be the guy, and I think we just started taking notice, I believe, me personally. Mm-hmm. Like I said, me and my brother were big fans together, but I just know that what I personally liked back then was the Intercontinental guys.
Oh,
so Perfect, Michaels, Bret, and then Bret elevated, right?
Yes.
So I was a big Bret guy, but then Shawn was just nipping at his heels, and I love Shawn. And the moment where we're talking now, me and my brother wrestled every day. We had characters, we had, we had title changes. I'm an 83-time world champion in the basement. But we moved a lot when I was a kid. So from my Nana's house to my stepfather now's house to like another house. All me and my brother cared about. We asked mom when we were moving, where can we set up our wrestling ring, which was just a couch and cushions, but we had to have it because we didn't have we didn't have a trampoline or nothing like that. It was just in the living room. But I don't know how old I was, 96. It had to be 96. In 96 going on 97. We went to this cheap ass video store in J-Town. We had just moved to J-Town, right? Okay. We go straight to the wrestling section. There was a DVD there called Boyhood Dream, I think it is.
Yes, it is.
Sean, I got it still to this day. But me and my brother rented it. We put it in. And I was already a Sean fan, but like now, we didn't get every pay-per-view. We didn't have money like that. So now I'm seeing all his pay-per-view matches from 96.
And that was a really special storyline. I hate to interrupt, but when you talk about storylines ever told, the Boyhood Dream, I think, is the staple of what every storyline afterwards came, because you had this wonderful 7-month storyline of, well, here's this guy, he started it in San Antonio, he worked his way through AWA, here he is, he's become the Intercontinental Champion, but his dream has always been, so it's this boyhood dream. You're going into the 60-minute match with Bret Hart. At the time, Roddy Piper obviously is the commissioner at the time. You go into the overtime because they can't finish the match within 60 minutes. Right. So you go into the overtime period, which was, again, something very unique at that time, and then Shawn wins his first title.
Yeah. And like I said, Shawn was always nipping at Bret's heels, in my opinion.
Oh, most definitely.
But so anyways, we get this VHS back then. We watch it again, and then it was, okay, let's pull the mattress out and let's wrestle, right? So we wrestle, and of course, the first time through, I'm Sean, and we went through, and me and my brother, and did every match. He was the other guy, and we would just do it, and we would just emulate it. I was Sean, he was Vader, Bulldog, all these people, and then watch it again. All right, your turn to be Sean, and then we switch it. But and I never forget, my mom takes us back to take the video back, and she said, "Okay, you want to get anything else?" I said, "Yeah, I want this again." And I rented it again. Same day we returned it. And I just kept watching. And for me, that's when I think I was like, I was always watched and in love with it, but that's when I was like, I want to do this.
I want to do this.
Yeah, Shawn Michaels for me was the guy. And to me, by far, the best that's ever done it. Not even close.
Well, I'm not going to agree. I mean, I think everybody's got their guy. Well, no, everyone's got their guy.
Yeah,
for me, it was... obviously Gordy and Hanson, I'm a little bit older, but then I found this guy named Adam Copeland. And when I watched Edge and his progression in the industry, there was no bigger Edge head. And then, of course, that moved on to Kevin Steen, but when Edge was in his prime, after, the tag team, obviously, with Christian, and you talk about WrestleMania 23, him and Mick Foley, him wanting to redeem himself from losing his first title to, what was it? I think, let's see. Let me get it right. December, he wins the first title against Cena. Then 2 months later, loses it right back to him. Yes. Feels like he has something to prove. And then steals the show at WrestleMania 23 against Foley. The famous putting Foley through the table with thumbtacks, set on fire.
Oh, yeah.
And that set something.
Edge is very underrated.
Oh.
All time. I mean, of course, people give him his props, but his run was...
Tell a story. Yeah. Whether it would be his work with Taker, his work with Foley, so on and so forth. Everyone talks about it.
He can go. And a great heel.
Oh.
When you look at the guy, you think natural babyface.
But
good-looking dude, colorful tights, and then has one of the best heel runs, in my opinion, in recent memory.
Unbelievable. And everyone knows I'm a huge Edge head. So, okay, you come back to OVW.
Okay, well, hold on.
Okay.
We didn't come back to OVW. So,
okay, we're almost there.
I still haven't answered question 1.
Okay.
So let me get
Let's go with it.
Okay, you get beer and pizza involved, talking to business fans, and this is what happens. But go ahead.
Buddy hits me up about doing the show for the Russell Rap connection, right? Mm-hmm. So that planted the seed again. I wanted to come back when TNA was there, right? I started thinking about it, hitting the weights a little harder, watching the diet a little more. Maybe I'll come back. Start putting some feelers out there. Next thing you know, TNA's gone. So it's like, it's just, now it's just OVW though. But there's no advantage of being there besides TV, which is a great advantage because you don't get that on the indies. But you don't, you don't get paid or nothing like that. It's,
exactly.
Which is fine. So start training for just this one shot in January. I'm like, I got 3 months. I'm gonna get in real good shape. I'm gonna grow my hair out as much as it'll grow. I already got all my tight stills. So I'm gonna do this one show, see how it feels. Well, that show falls through, right? So, anyways, back to all of this. Like poker was bad. Girlfriend and me trying to figure out where life's going. At that point, we had a big talk, and she's going back to school.
Mhm.
She's gonna get her degree. What am I gonna do? And she's like, do you want to do? I'm like, I ain't doing a 9 to 5. I'll tell you that right now. I'm not that guy. Right? I'm not that guy.
You're right.
No, I'm not that guy. So I was like I've always had that. What if you wouldn't have stopped when you were 21? What if?
What if?
You know,
Yeah,
which we
most
all
definitely.
have that. But it always bothered me. And I was like, dude, you're 20. I think I was 7 at the time. I was like, you're 27. You're not too old to do this.
No.
And I was like, that's what you need to do, right? You need to get back in shape and give it a run. So I committed the next year to growing my hair out, getting in shape, and giving it one more shot. So then it became, so that's how I got back into 2014. Now 2014 was, where am I going to go back to?
No,
Because OVW to me wasn't what it was.
no, it isn't, and that was actually the next thing I actually planned to discuss.
Don't answer one question, jump right to the
I can't help it, by God. But OVW has changed from even 2014 to now. You know, obviously, you go through the WWE, then you go through TNA, you go through Ring of Honor, which maybe some people don't really knew about or quite grasp. But now you go into the Modern Day Project, where it was very family oriented. Mm-hmm. But this past year, things have really changed. And yes, it's family oriented, okay? But you've seen a little bit more of a focus on a adult edge to it. A little ultra violence in some areas, some more adult-like storylines, while still keeping with the family type thing. So OVW has grown so tremendously this past year. And that was one of the questions we have for you. You've been through that transition.
Yeah, well, it was, the booking changed.
Okay.
So, and we had a meeting. I mean, I got there at the tail end of and I won't name names, but the last booker. And that is what you're saying, more family oriented, more Southern style, more
1987
old school.
WWE. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
Getting
Exactly what it
gimmicks
was.
over.
Exactly.
Gimmicks? No, never.
And that's what it was when I got my first couple weeks there. And then we had a big talent meeting.
Okay.
And we were told, like, listen, we're going to pick it up. We want you all to go. We want more exciting matches.
Mm-hmm.
We want more action. We weren't talking about storylines per se and like what they were going to be, but we were told, like, we want to turn this into the Southern Ring of Honor style. That's what the goal was.
No,
now whether
so
we
you're saying.
completed that or not, but like you said, you've seen a difference.
Oh,
Regardless.
most definitely.
See, I wasn't there for the whole.
Well, I remember just being back in South Carolina, turning on OVW and going, wow. Let me see if I can stick it in the DVD of this company,
right.
because it was just so,
You can say it, boring.
wow. And I met Jim Cornette, really nice guy. I felt like I was watching Smoky Mountain Wrestling in 1986 and just wanted to throw up because it didn't, as an adult, pertain to me.
Well, okay. Well, I wasn't there when Jim was there.
Okay. Well, I'm not saying. I'm not. And Jim, God bless it, you have some of the greatest storylines I've ever loved in my life. I'm not picking on you, but it felt dated.
Okay, well, see, I don't know. I wasn't there when Jim was booked.
Yeah.
Now, Jim, to me, is a wrestling genius.
Oh.
Wrestling genius. I wish I was there. I'd have picked his brain today. But I wasn't. It was somebody else there that took over the book. But it also had the very old school mentality.
Yeah.
Very 1980s. That's a great way to put it. And but I literally did 2 weeks with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then the new booking took over where it was like, we're going in this direction.
Yeah.
And so I've been on that part. I didn't get to be there or see the other side of it.
No, and like I said, it's been a wonderful transition, and it's been almost needed because of where the business is going today. When you talk about, everyone goes, oh, the territory days. Mm-hmm. Well, the territory days are coming back. Yeah. And we discussed this in length in just the video we cut, God bless, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Seriously, where the territories are truly coming back. And I guess that leads into the next question. So, you're in OVW now, and obviously
Gone through this growth period. It's got a lot of excitement. We're just coming off Beers and Bruises. We have a big Saturday
that special coming up January 2nd. When you get ready for these shows as a wrestler, what do you watch? Are you watching Modern Day Project, or are you going on the WWE Network and going, oh, Steamboat Savage, WrestleMania 3, let me watch it again? What are you studying kind of going into it?
Well, again, Sean. For me, it's Sean. And the way my character is evolved, I watch a lot of, like, 96 Sean. Where he was white meat baby.
Babyface,
Yeah, you know,
invaders feeding to
all that,
mankind,
all that,
all
exactly.
those guys.
And, but to answer your question, for me, I mean, and I don't try and steal. I borrow things. I think of certain
I
spots.
think everybody
and,
does.
Oh, that's what this
Yeah.
business is. It's take that and make it your own.
Mhm.
Like today, I watch a lot of Randy when he's wrestling. I love Orton.
Okay.
And I would not miss a Seth Rollins match when he was. I mean, I think he's the best thing I've seen in years.
And I will go back as much as I like Seth. I love Tyler Black, which, if you don't know, that was him in Ring of Honor, The Age of the Fall. If you can go get an Age of the Fall DVD, fans, please, for the love of God, watch him and Jimmy Jacobs together. That's a whole nother world all to itself.
But so I watch a lot of those kind of guys. I watch athletes because I consider myself an athlete. That's my style. But it really depends on who I'm working. Okay, so for instance, like if I'm working a big guy, if I'm working a Big John or a Rocco or a Dick and Driscoll, I watch Sean versus like a Bulldog, or I'll watch Sean versus Sid.
Vader. I
Vader.
gotta
That
throw that
would-
in
yeah,
because
yeah.
White, those matches with White were off the chain.
Oh, amazing! But those guys don't wrestle like Vader. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
like I pick apart, and I don't, like I said, I just get spots and maybe like, all right, what do you do that resembles this? I don't go say, this spot, I'm going to use this in my match. I just say, okay, you do this, he did that. It would be cool if you did this instead. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And if it works with how they work, and I borrow from that. I study that a lot. I watch. Lately, I've been on an Eddie Guerrero kick.
And so we've had this discussion because I'm a huge El Gringo Loco.
Art Bar, Eddie Guerrero, growing up in El Paso. The Guerreros obviously run Eddie's father ran a promotion in El Paso, so you had Hector and Mondo and Eddie when he was 17, Art Bar, and they worked with AAA, coming through doing house shows, and then at the tail end of WCCW with the Von Erichs, they would run a lot of shows there. That style, when you talk about Eddie Guerrero and Art Bar, the way of facially selling, and Art being, God bless you, we miss you to this day, and Eddie obviously also. But Eddie took a lot of what he learned from Art, which he actually stole from Art as a tribute. He takes that to ECW. You watch the matches he does with Malenko, and then where he went from there, you don't get any better.
Right. No, God, Eddie is top 5 all time for sure. Maybe top 4.
Oh, wow. That's
I mean, because he works every style.
Yeah.
I judge it based on, like Brett for me, for instance. I don't want to go off on a big tangent, but Brett for me, like, he had different matches with everybody.
Yes.
He didn't win with his finish all the time. He was very creative. But at the same time, or Ric Flair, for instance, who's also different era, but most of Rick's matches were the same. Yeah. Chain wrestle, chop
60
block.
minutes.
Yeah,
Raw.
and we're gonna work the knee and all that, and then he was gonna get his heat, and it was perfect for what he was. But then it was like Sean and Brett brought athleticism to it. They started bringing creativeness to it. But like Eddie, and Sean both, I've watched Sean work later, obviously, Man, and I've also watched him work Rey Mysterio on SmackDown and like clear the house. I mean, it's like one of the best matches I've ever seen. And Sean versus Shelton Benjamin on Raw is like top 5 matches I've ever seen in my life.
But
And
I gotta with the mid-air super kick.
yeah, I mean,
But I gotta give a shout out to our Orangeburg, South Carolina boy, Sheldon Benjamin. Such an honor to meet you twice this year. Watching, and I know I interrupted you, but my God, watching hostages come back together for the South. That was.
Yeah, they were class act too. Very nice guys, very helpful in the locker room. So I mean, I watch a lot of Sean. I I'm watching Eddie. Lately, I've been watching Eddie. I watched Seth. I watched Randy Orton. Guys that I feel I work like.
No, and that's understandable.
You know what I mean?
Especially, your finisher being the super kick.
Right. Which let me say, that's not my finisher really.
Okay.
I have a different finisher on the indies. Like I wasn't using the super kick at all. I used it as a false finish. And my first match on OVW, I wrestled Eddie for the title, Eddie Diamond.
Yes.
Right? And I nailed him with the super kick out of nowhere, and it was so flush, everyone thought that was it. Like, Gilbert came to me in the back and was like, dude, I thought you were winning the belt your first night. Because they thought that was the
And
finish.
I told you, when I saw you for the very first time, we're at an OVW show and watching you wrestle, and I see the extension, and the first thing that came to my mind was, well, damn, doesn't he think he's James Storm?
Yeah.
And it was just that kind of extension, that kind of band to it. I was like, wow, really?
Yeah,
and you don't see that.
No, but it wasn't my finish. That's not my finish, really, and because I don't want to be too much like Sean.
No,
and that's the thing. But I got back to the back, and I come back the next week, and they're like, super kick every time. And I'm like, which I might be switching.
And I had to throw it up. Young Bucks, super kicks always good.
Yeah, they're
super
good,
kick party.
but they're getting watered down, sadly.
Everybody uses it.
Everyone, I mean, WWE, Usos, Luke Harper,
Kevin
Dolph,
Steen,
Kevin
Owens,
Steen. There's 4 that we just named.
Rushmore. And actually, when we had this conversation going into it, the first time I saw him, my first thought was, turn you heel, turn your opponent around, give him the gunshot, super kick to the back of the head to make it different.
Right.
To make it so much different. And the funny part is, as soon as I thought that, 2 weeks later, I'm watching Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and I watched someone from Pro Wrestling Guerrilla do that. I'm like, no, you can't do that. I've stole my idea.
They stole our shit.
No, I'm not cool with that. That's not down with that whatsoever.
Would you rather play a heel or a baby?
Oh, great question.
Great question. When I created my character, the Chosen One, it was a heel. I mean, what's more cocky than calling yourself the Chosen One? You know,
which I kind of want to do this. I told Kevin I was going to do this. Way to bring a '98 Jared gimmick and work it back in.
You gotta say it.
And I was hot because I came up with this gimmick in OVW, and then Drew McIntyre debuted on WWE. They started calling the Chosen One. I was
After he got sent up from OVW.
Yeah, and I just ordered all my gear with the Chosen One on it. But anyway, it was supposed to be a heel. Like, this was 2006, 7. Like, Randy was real hot as the Legend Killer. And I loved that gimmick. I mean, just the way his facials, he was so cocky, and I believed he really thought he was the shit.
Yeah.
Oh, whether he was, he was, but whether he was everybody else, he really believed it.
Right.
And then I liked Sean as a heel.
Right.
I mean, I thought Sean as a heel was amazing. So, and then I loved The Rock's promos. Like, so to me, I was trying to combine all 3.
Okay.
Put The Rock's, who's the great one,
Right.
Chosen One, great one. That's kind of what, and then Randy Orton's demeanor, and then Sean's work rate. Like, that's what I wanted. So I wanted to be a heel.
Okay.
Right? And then when I came back in 2014, I was a heel. I went back on the indies as a heel. And it wasn't real natural as far as like coming out and little kids sticking their hand out and me just, don't touch me.
Right.
You know, like, it's not who I am. I'm not a bad dude in real life. So it's like, it's hard to snap in and be a dick like that.
Right.
But it just organically, the fans loved my work so much.
Yeah.
They just cheered me. Didn't matter what I had a manager with me, Big Mo, and he would get all my heat.
Right.
They would boo him, and then they would cheer me in the ring.
Right.
And then the promoter, we're turning you, baby.
No.
I was like, Mo's got to turn on you. I said, but to answer that, like, then I went up and did in Illinois another promotion. I just went up as a baby.
Right.
And got over so quick and easy that now I could be a heel if I need to be, but it has to be the right storyline to turn me, and then the microphone and the whole nine.
Oh,
if you turn heel, we're kind of known as the Silvio section. We sit over here. Right?
Well,
We've
never discussed the Silvio section. Who is Chris Silvio? My God.
That's a story for another day.
That's a story for another day.
There's a section
Anyway, go ahead.
that sits
By the way,
right in front
saying
of
that, hold on. Grab your beer. Have fun in England, brother. Go ahead.
There's a section that sits right in front of us that's got like these crazy fangirls in there that hold your big head signs up. So if you ever turn heel, there's this bloody screech when you come out
Yeah.
that if you turn heel.
You might get stabbed if you actually get out there, because it would be ugly at that point.
That's.
Let's be
You
honest.
have a huge following, like with every kind of age group.
Yeah, that's,
you know, young too.
And that's the cool thing. Like when I went up to Illinois, for instance, I was traveling with Too Tough Tony, who is JCW's guy.
Right.
He's been the Juggalo champion. He's big on the indies, right? But the Juggalos are like hardcore fans.
Right.
You know, they like blood, guts. They like ass kickers. They like the cool dudes. And Tony, that's what Tony does.
Right.
And he brings me out, right? And Tony wrestles in like Dickie shorts and a JCW hockey jersey, and he comes out. He's the town drunk. He's got liquor. I mean, but you like him. And he introduced me, and I come out this pretty boy with long wet hair and tights. And it's like this doesn't add up, you know.
Right.
Like this doesn't add up. So, but it was weird because he gave me the rub just up there. Like his fans, once they saw me work, they were all for me. But like when I came out, it was like, you know, the girls were going nuts, the little kids were going nuts, and these dudes who love Tony and they know I'm Tony's boy, they're kind of going, all right, we'll shake hands, I guess. You know, as everyone else is going nuts.
They're kind of doing secret.
Yeah, old ladies are hugging me, and I'm walking past the dudes, and they're like, all right, you're kind of cool. You're kind of cool. But then I got in the ring, and once I get in the ring, the work speaks for itself.
And,
Most of it.
Me and him were talking about this earlier that, you know, with the business now, you have to be all the way around. Like, you can't be just a good worker in the ring. You have to be a good worker in the ring. You got to be good on the microphone because
Total package.
if you're great match-wise, but you pick up a microphone and I'm just like,
Oh, yeah.
you know, you're
That's-
going to lose momentum.
Perfect example, Johnny Nitro. Now, I haven't got to see his work on,
Which underground?
which I hear is great.
Yeah,
But
I've
for
heard really good things.
WWE, he's exactly what they want. He has probably the best physique in wrestling history next to Rick Rude.
That's very true. That's very true.
I mean, looks good, but he couldn't cut a promo.
No,
At least back then he couldn't.
Oh God. No,
You know, I mean, he might be able to now, but
Hook
back then
ass.
he could. Yeah, exactly. And like, I think someone he was working with,
Well, don't forget they had him in the.
or something, where like he was a heel. I think. It was
Oh
John.
God! Don't forget they put him in the reboot of ECW.
Yeah, and you look at him and ECW, and you go, what the hell is not connected?
Yeah, it's just, and
It
that's
was
the thing. I
insane.
mean, and the dude can go.
Oh, he
can
can
do things in the ring,
wrestle.
yeah, and he can do moves that like make your jaw drop, but he couldn't connect with the microphone.
Right.
And that microphone's a big part of it.
Oh, most
Really
definitely.
big part of it.
So I gotta go into we had a Ryan Howe fan that asked a question for you, which I was kind of shocked by, but the quintessential stud muffin of OVW, Mr. Virgil, had to ask this question of who is your favorite fan at OVW? Now you've got quite a few fans, and only Virgil would ask this question. And by the way, if you ever ask a question like this again, no more chocolate malts for you at Sonic. But we're not going to go there.
Not a
Your
favorite
favorite fan section at OVW.
Fan section?
Fan section,
Well, I
however
mean,
you want to mention.
well, I mean, it's got to be my girls that bring my face on.
Oh, yes, their father's an UPS driver, actually.
Yeah.
And they just...
The little girls, the fact that they took the time to get posters made of me is, I mean, that's amazing.
Actually, the first time we saw that, we were like, wow, Dad must have had a couple of days off of work, and he must have really hated when he had
It's
to go to the
amazing to me,
house.
and they bring them and they wave them with pride, and I love it.
Oh, it's absolutely awesome. Now,
So if anybody else wants to be my fan, make some more posters.
Big
Let's
Mitch
fill
head.
the damn arena up
Big Mitch
with my face. And
that will be
We'll give you
interesting
a
with the
shout out.
Silvio section still surrounding there, but that would still be fun. No problem.
we might take over the Silvio section.
Oh,
We might.
Chris, you heard that. Lucy, you heard that. A couple other things we want to go over. Obviously, like I said, very unique in your training, but now you get to give back. And I want to talk about the Grindhouse a little bit in particular because you have put so much time into these new students. There's so many places to learn today. This isn't 10 years ago where you had an OVW and maybe one or two places. You have so many places you can learn business from. Up in Canada, Lance Storm. Like I said, you go out to California, you can talk about Hood Slam and the Stoner Brothers, you can talk about Rikishi School, you go out to the California, you can talk about the Hardys in Carino, Texas with Booker T. What made you go, okay, one day there's all these schools that I want to give back? What did that for you?
So 2014, coming back
was torn between OVW and this place in Southern Indiana called D1W.
Okay.
Any promotion, very good. Rick Brady runs a good guy. He invited me to. He didn't know who I was. He didn't know who I was. So he was like, "Yeah, we have a training session, and come over, get in the ring, see if you like it, and it's like a tryout type thing." Right?
Okay.
And I was like, "Cool." And I hadn't been in a ring in 7 years, so I was all about it. Went there, got in the ring, felt like I'd never left. It was the craziest thing ever. And then continued to go there to keep getting back in ring shape. Because I could get on a Stairmaster, I can go play basketball for 10 games in a row. There ain't nothing like being in ring shape. Okay? Trust me.
You're talking to someone who drinks way too
Well,
much.
no, that doesn't
line.
even, like,
I would never even understand.
No,
shit.
not
Go
even
ahead.
that doesn't even matter. I mean, I partake in an alcoholic beverage here and there, but I'm saying, like, it's a different kind of cardio.
Most of it.
Okay, I mean, I'm serious. I could go play 10 games of basketball in a row and be fine. And then get in the ring and do a 5-minute match and be completely blown. I mean, it's just a different kind of cardio. So you have to condition your body.
Okay.
And so I was going every week, I forget what day it was, but about an hour and a half. And we were just doing stuff. And he had this trainer, I'm not going to name names, but he had 2 students there.
Okay.
And some nights we were in a building where the ceiling wasn't as big as this, and you're in a 6-foot ring, so you couldn't do anything over the head. Okay, so it was just like rolls and running the ropes and easy chain wrestling.
And arm drag doesn't even exist.
No, definitely no hip tosses. But other times we had a big place to train, but that's not important. But I just watched like where these guys how they were getting trained by this guy, and he knows his stuff, but I don't know if it's just the way he teaches or I don't know. He just wasn't, in my opinion, he wasn't training these guys the way they should have been. Not the way I was trained. Maybe that's the best.
Exactly.
And
Like I said, you had unique with Al Snow
I was
and
very
Rick Rogers.
lucky.
And
Yeah,
Tank
I
and
was very, very lucky. So it was just like a whoa kind of experience. Like these guys, like they're not getting the right attention or the right training. Okay, I mean, like they had been training for months and didn't know how to do a headlock takeover yet, which is something I learned in the first like 3 weeks. So in my mind, and again, he had his own style and whatever. One of his guys wrestles up in Indiana now, but. So anyway, I still never thought of myself as going to be a trainer. Because I never looked at myself. I always looked at trainers as someone that had to have some kind of real pedigree.
Okay.
And, it's just a respect thing. But Tony, Too Tough Tony, buys a building in Jeffersonville, Indiana. He wants to start doing shows and he wants to start doing birthday parties for kids, and he's real good about giving back to kids. So he just hits me up and says, "What do you feel about doing training?" And I said, "Do you think we can get some students?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got like 4 that want to start right now."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, "Absolutely." Because I felt like the way Tank Tolan, big shout out to Tank Tolan, and Seth Skyfire, they trained me mostly. Now, I went through Rip school for a couple months, and I learned what I needed to learn from Rip too. A lot from him, not all, but a lot. But I feel I was trained so well, and I studied the business so much that I was at least equipped enough to teach people the basics. Now, I tell all of my students when they come here, this is the guys on the street, if you come to me, first thing I tell them is, OVW's right across the bridge. That's where I was trained. I'll never say a bad word about them. You could go there too. Don't go to anyone else around here. That's what I tell them. Because you're going to here's what they don't understand. You're going to get trained wrong. You're going to pick up bad habits. And then if you go to a place like OVW or Ring of Honor or any place besides an indie fed, someone's going to look at you and go, "Where were you trained? We need to reprogram you." So why just skip that whole step and just get taught right off the bat? And I tell them, I was trained at OVW. I know OVW can be expensive. So I tell them, if you can't afford that, we're cheaper. But you're going to get trained the way I was trained at OVW, which is WWE style psychology. And to top it all off, we have Too Tough Tony there.
Yeah.
So he's got 18 years experience. I have Scott Cardinal that helps me out a lot. He's wrestled in Ring of Honor. He's from Northeast, so that's a whole nother cool style.
Most definitely.
And Rob Conway lives right down the street and has come in like 6 times and just pretty much given a free seminar.
And that's
Can
awesome.
you beat that?
No, you really
I mean,
can't.
you really can. I mean, that guy's a genius too.
when you talk about training in the business, I mean, the business has obviously changed. You've got 50% of the crowd that is, let's say, from 16 to younger, and that's great. But because kayfabe has been broken, curtains been pulled back, you've got that internet crowd, the people who actually, and I'm not trying to pick, but you and me, JB, we think we know the business, whether we do or we don't.
Right.
And because of that, the trainings had to change, I think, also because you can do a great arm drag. Wonderful. Throw a drop kick. Great. You can't sell me a story, you're not going to get my dollar.
And
that's changed tremendously.
Well, the thing is, it's guys trying to make money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anybody, you right now could get a building,
Mhm.
buy a ring, and say, I'm going to put on a wrestling show. Get a promoter's license, or I've got a wrestling school now. Now, you might not get anybody because you've never wrestled, but you could do it. You know what I mean? You could technically just start a wrestling school. And the problem is, again, like you get some of these other places, and I've heard horror stories from my students that have done tryouts for IWA and all these places. And I mean, they've told me things where they're like, they don't even get in the ring with us. I'm in the ring every week with my students. I'm running spots with them. I'm telling them. I'm breaking stuff down for them. But like they'll charge $10 a session or something, right? Because they're trying to make quick cash.
Okay.
And I tell them it's the same thing as a promoter on the indies paying a $10 wrestler. You're going to get a $10 match.
wrestler.
It's going to suck. And if you're paying for $10 training, yeah, you get to go play wrestler for an hour in the ring, but you're not going to learn the right way. And if you don't learn the right way, you're not going to be able to work. And if you can't work, nobody wants to work you. I don't want to work you.
Right.
I don't want to get hurt. I'm putting my life in your hands, and if you don't know how to do a headlock takeover and you spike my head into the mat, we're going to have a huge problem backstage.
Right.
We're going to have a huge problem. You know what I mean? And that's where I get mad about the training. And I'm not saying I'm the best trainer, but I tell all my students again, I can only take you so far because I only know so much.
But you can give them the basics.
Oh, I can
and
give
that's
them the basics
important.
all day, and I can give them psychology and all this stuff. But there's going to come a time where they're either going to have to go see Rip or go to Lance Storm
Or delirious.